You got this. Whoop. Easy, brah. Easy. How many times have I ridden past a group of riders motivating each other like this into techie sections, into jumps, or into stunts? And sometimes I find it's amazing and supportive, but to be honest, many times I just find it dangerous and short-sighted. Welcome to another episode of Roxy's Rawcast. I'm on another creativity walk. Today's going to be a short one, but I want to talk about motivation and when motivation or motivating someone into skills can be dangerous. In my last episode, I addressed the topic fear and when fear is legitimate and when it's a mental block. Let me just talk about both. So a mental block is when you have the skills, but out of some reason you can't execute them because something's holding you back, like a block. And a legitimate fear is when you actually don't have one of the skills that you need to execute the skill. Like one of the 5 pillars is missing. If you haven't heard my last episode, then you'll hear about the 5 pillars in my last episode. And then you try to execute the skill, you try to push yourself beyond your limits, and you're feeling fear. That's a legitimate fear. So now if we have this fear, and if we get motivated into doing this, then it's actually very dangerous. And I keep seeing this and I keep hearing this, and I've actually heard this from many of my friends and many of my clients that they went to either clinics or group rides or whatever, and it was a very supportive community, which in general is great, but people motivated them into sections that they weren't ready for and they actually crashed. And I've seen it when I was in bike parks or trail parks. As I just said at the beginning of this episode, I walked past a group and there was this guy. He dropped a really big drop, like massive drop, and he had the second rider with him. And then he dropped it and it looked really smooth and he's like, yeah, easy, brah, easy, you got this. And the other guy, he was clearly fearful. And then he tried the smaller drop and I saw that he didn't have the skills at all. So I don't know how this ended right there, but then I saw them at lunch. They were sitting at the table right next to me and I heard them talk about their histories. And the guy who said easy, bro, easy, and who dropped that drop easily, told the other guy that he has a history of motorcycling and jumping huge jumps when he was a kid and when he was a youngster. So he's been riding motorbikes for over 20 years and he's used to big air. And the other guy said, oh, wow, well, that is so cool. I've just been riding for, I think, 8 months. And to me, it's still scary. I'm so happy to be riding with you because I can just look at what you're doing and then copy it. Yeah, it does work to some extent, of course. I'm not saying don't ride with riders who are not as good as you, but know your limits. The guy who has been riding motorbikes for over 20 years, he has so much coordination, so much strength, so much anticipation, and of course also skills, because some skills you learn on a motorbike can be applied to mountain bikes. And of course for him, a big drop is easy because he has that subconscious competence. He doesn't know what he's doing, but he's doing it. So for him, it's just, yeah, easy, brah, easy. And the other guy, he can't just do it. So then after lunch, I see these guys again, and I'm serious. I see them again at the drops. I try to just ignore them, but they were on the middle-sized drop. Again, the guy's like, yeah, easy, brah, easy. You got this. You just got to go ride it fast enough and pull up. And the second guy crashes. He crashed massively. Luckily, he didn't really hurt himself. He just had a few bruises and I think his helmet was broken, but he didn't get hurt like really like he could have gotten hurt. So that day was just another message from wherever that came from. And I was like, wow, yeah, maybe I am right. Yes, maybe I am a wuss and maybe I am overcautious, but I would be so angry at myself if I motivated someone into something and then they crash. Even though, like, even if they don't crash on that day, like if they then crash on another day and I hear about it, wow, I would just feel so bad. And for me, life is about, you know, if people think, what kind of coach are you, not motivating people into things? But for me, good coaching is way more than motivating people into something that they're not ready for. Motivating people is super easy, but actually breaking down the movements and telling them what they need, that's where coaching starts. And it's not only breaking down the movements, but for me, the beauty of coaching is finding out what my clients need and finding out how I can solve his or her problem based on his or her experiences, and then telling them cues that work for them. So not generic tips and not motivation alone, but to allow them to find their motivation by finding their path and finding their safety and their skill in themselves by building themselves and their personality way beyond mountain biking. And that's why I keep saying that for me, mountain biking, it's a tool to help people find their authenticity and find what really fuels them in life. And I've had so many clients who came back to me after a year or something when I worked with them for a few months, and then we didn't see each other for half a year, and they're like, wow, I finally got that job offer that I've been dreaming of because I had the confidence through mountain biking and through finding what really fuels me, what nourishes my soul. I started to look into the things that I was missing in my daily life. And I think that's what really matters, is that, yeah, motivation is good, but you need to know the limits. So if someone out there says, yeah, you got this, or you're in a group where everyone's cheering for each other, please listen to your soul. Try to silence everything out for a second and really listen to what is your soul telling you? What is your gut feeling telling you? Is it legitimate fear, or is it just a mental block that you can overcome by motivation or by being hyped into this jump drop section or whatever? And if you are in doubt, then why not take the safe way? Why not push the bike down? Is it really worth it to risk so much? Because in my opinion, mountain biking doesn't have to be dangerous. It doesn't have to be risky. It can be super, super controlled, even though you're technically doing dangerous things, if you work your way up step by step in a safe manner and listen to yourself. And I think it's super, super brave to disappoint others in order to not disappoint yourself. I actually think life is about disappointing as many people as it takes in order to not disappoint yourself. And if mountain biking can teach us that by not allowing others to cheer us into sections that we don't think we're ready for, well, then that's a great lesson. I mean, I'll take it. I'm serious. So I just want to invite you today to look into that and to say, am I being motivated? Do I feel ready for this? Or am I being motivated and actually I'm feeling fear? And then listen to yourself. It is so brave to own your fear and then to work with it in a step-by-step manner. The only problem is our quick fix mentality. You know, in this world of instant gratification, it's easy to fall into that trap of expecting quick and super dramatic results in no time. But sustainable changes in your body, and that is what skills training and everything actually is. It's like fitness training. It requires time. So results don't materialize as rapidly as we want them to. I know, but don't allow discouragement and self-doubt to kick in there. That is true confidence. Not riding the section because someone told you, yeah, you got this, go for it. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, that's all I got for you. I hope you found this episode helpful. I am sending you my love from Spain. Leave me a rating wherever you are listening to this pod. And if you'd like to support me for my ads-free pod, then you'll find the link to my Buy Me a Coffee and Patreon channel below. Goodbye, and I hope to see you, I hope you hear me again in my next episode. Bye-bye.